Yeah, we are live on the interwebs. That's the boy Spen Harris. Spenny and the Nets. You already know. Who's in the chat? My boy Jared. Big win over the Jazz last night. Facts. Say that. The Brooklyn kid. Keith, great hearing you last night. What up, Rich? KM to the AM. That's tonight on WFAN. Let's see. Brooklyn Nets 11. Yeah, Brooklyn Nets about to get 11 back. It's on the way. All right, y'all. Y'all want to start the pod? Actually, I always do that. I want to start the pod before promoting the pod. I need to take a picture of Spen and I and be like, hey, we're live. We're here. Do you like the Nets? Do you hate the Nets? Either way, you like to listen to Talkin Nets because everybody be talking Nets. So let's talk about the Nets. Okay, picture time. In 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Yeah. All right. Then that goes on Talkin Nets Twitter. And people are going to be like, the mandate, man, the mandate. The mandate. Didn't you hear? The mandate is staying.
If I have to hear the word mandate one more time, Keith, one more time, I'm going to lose my mind.
I prefer Mandalorian. I wish they would make some new episodes of Mandalorian.
There you go. That was a great show.
Short-lived. I should have watched Boba Fett. I watched the first episode of Boba Fett, and my wife wasn't feeling it, so I just was like, I hate when I do that. I try to start watching something with my girl, and I'll be all into it, and she'll be like, I'm not into this. Too much violence, shooting. I don't like this. And I'm like, all right, so what now? And then I'll forget about the show. We'll go to another show.
Bro, spoiler alert, the Mandalorian returns in the book of Boba Fett.
Oh, okay, then that's what I'm about to do real soon. I might get off the pod and do that right after this. I got a little work to do, and I got to go to the station early today. All right, here we go. We're live. Me tag Spen. See, Fireside Nets. I'll tag Fireside Nets. I don't know if your personal comes up.
Spenny and the Nets is my personal.
I got it. It's Mr. Saw.
God, I got a shout out on the Michael K show the other week.
Yeah?
Not to bring up your competitor, yeah. Well,
I don't mind. I rock with Michael K. Michael K was one of the first people to congratulate me when I got the WFAN gig. He DM'd me. He knows I rock with him.
Heck yeah.
Okay, so that's tweeted. We're live. And I got a retweet from my personal account, which I feel weird about. Talkin Nets used to have more followers than my personal account, and I was proud of that. Now my personal account is going to hit 20,000, and Talkin Nets is left behind at 15, and I'm just like, that ain't right. Nets world, baby. It's a Nets world after all. It's a Nets world after all. Izzy, what up, Izzy? What up, Alex? What up again, Jared? What up again, Bird's Eye View? All right, we should probably start the show. We'll start the show in like 15 seconds, right at 4 minutes, and then I always put in the comments like show starts at 4 minutes. So I had some bozo. There's always bozos on the internet. Some bozo was like months ago was like, this show never starts on time. Takes too long to get going. I'm like, bro, chill. I'm in my crib. Like, I'm in my crib putting together a podcast for Nets fans. I love the Nets. Like, get off my back with that negativity.
You got someplace to be? Then go on and get.
Exactly. Right? Nobody's forcing you to be here with us. You could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with me.
Exactly.
All right, here we go. Yeah, we got everything loaded up. We're going to talk about some things. I got the notes up here. I got my notes up here. It's fine. All right. We got 15 people in the chat. It's early, though. I've done this. This is before 12, so it's tough to get that many people. And I honestly don't care how many people are in here. All right, 5-minute mark. I said I was going to start at 4. That already passed, so we'll start it right at 5. Me. Talkin Nets, episode 158. Club going up on a Tuesday. Great. Eric Adams still talking, and y'all still believe in everything he said. But Boomer Esiason says something. Ooh, who knows? The mandate, Kyrie, the Yankees, the Mets. Here we talk about the Nets. So we're going to talk about the Nets winning 6 out of their last 7. Spencer Dinwiddie, we beat the Blazers on Friday. I was at the game. We beat the Jazz last night. I should have went to the game. My boy Spen Harris from Fireside Nets joins me on the pod, Talkin Nets. Let's get it. Yes, sir. Welcome back to Talkin Nets, episode 158 with Spen Harris, Spenny and the Nets. Spen, say what's up and introduce yourself. I think this is your 3rd time on Talkin Nets.
Yeah, this is my 3rd time on the show. Happy to be back. It's always a pleasure to do this thing with you, Keith. And I host a Nets podcast of my own. Some would say Talkin Nets and Fireside Nets are the 2 biggest heavy hitters on Nets Twitter. I host it with my little brother, Nick. We're more of a satirical, comedic podcast. We break down the games, but we respect, the top dogs in this Nets podcast game. And you can't talk about the top dogs without mentioning Talkin Nets. So Keith, always a pleasure. Happy to be back. And let's get into it, man. We got a lot of stuff to talk about on this episode.
Appreciate the kind words. And yeah, no time to waste. I already wasted most of the morning. It's about to be noon. Let's get into it. So I'm not going to bury the lead. Y'all know that I don't bury the lead. There's one thing that everybody in Nets world is talking about this morning, and I got to go ahead and play the clip. I'm so tired of this bing bong mare.
And say, you know what? We don't want to admit it, but this administration got it right. And they're going to do that again. So right now, we're going to take some complaints. But when this is all said and done, people are going to realize this is a thoughtful administration and we got it right. And so baseball, basketball, businesses, all of those things, they have to wait until that layer come. And right now, we're announcing just our 2 to 4 year olds.
Indicators, though, that are keeping that in place right now? Is there anything that you're like, we still want to wait? Pressure points.
Yes. Believe it or not, a lot of our businesses, they love the mandates. When I speak to a lot of my businesses, getting people back in the office, that mandate is allowing them to feel safe in the office for those who feel that they would rather the vaccine mandate to be in place. But again, we're going to do it in layers. And when we feel that it's the right time to look at that, if we do so at all, because the work environment is an important environment, we're going to make that determination. We're not there yet.
Okay. The volume might have been a little low there. So let's recap. Eric Adams is talking about the mandate. He's talking about rolling things back in layers. Did this guy just say, some of my businesses love the mandate? Bro, stop the nonsense. What do you mean love the mandate? They are playing on people's fears. And I know there are some people, rightfully so, still afraid of COVID, still having fear of getting sick and dying. But that's not the reality of what's going on out here. We're way past that. It's been 2 years since COVID hit. And if you're in New York City every day like I am, it looks like regular New York City. Looks like nobody's afraid of anything anymore. So to hear the mayor say that businesses love the mandate, it's all posturing. It's all just words. It's all for the media. And I know people don't understand how politics work, how politicians work. I know people don't understand how the media works. So many folks are holding on to everything this man says. He is a puppet, yo. He has to go up there and say these things right now. Why? Because there are some people that are holding on to the fact that people did get fired in this city for not getting the mandate. So it looks kind of backwards to have the common man lose his job for not getting vaccinated and then have these millionaire ball players be able to do their jobs against the mandate or rolling the mandate back. But this is the last of days. I'm telling y'all, this is the end of it. Why? Because I told y'all the last episode, the Yankees and Mets are not going for it. The Yankees and Mets have been here for a long time. The Nets have only been here 9 years. Joe Tsai ain't even been here half the time. Steve Cohen, Hal Steinbrenner, the owners of the Mets and the Yankees, yeah, they've been around. They've been around and they have ties to everyone and everything. And could you imagine Yankee Stadium opening day? I'm walking through Legends with my phone out like, yo, we out here, yo, that's Aaron Judge and Anthony Rizzo. Yo, they can't play. They're unvaccinated. Yo, Judge, say what's up to my Instagram. It'll never happen. It won't happen. Mark my words, it won't happen. There is a disadvantage built into this letting away players that are unvaccinated play in this city. It won't happen. So let's play the next clip that stirred the pot today. My coworkers, my station, WFAN, New York, early this morning, had something to say.
How about if I told you you would get Kyrie Irving back to play home games?
Great.
That may happen by the end of the week.
I hope it does.
Oh, really? We got inside info here?
It could.
Huh. What do you mean? Where'd you get that from? Thanks, Al.
That mean the Yankees are putting pressure and the Mets are putting pressure on the city? Maybe. Who knows? Possibly.
The whole thing may get lifted by Thursday.
By Thursday?
We'll see.
We'll see. Boomstradamus moment here or what?
Thank you, Al. That could be very exciting news.
It could be very exciting.
Could be.
Thank you, Al.
We shall see.
Oh, we know Boomer's connected to the city politics.
Yeah,
Right, yeah.
I'm
He's got a
connected,
lot of friends there on the city council that are like-minded.
A lot of friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a nationally televised radio show. CBS Radio plays that across the country every morning, Boomer and Gio. You might have seen me in pictures with Boomer and Gio. Those are my colleagues. Why would they say something like that this morning? Why would they even put that into the ether if there wasn't something going on, if there wasn't some truth to it? Now, we have heard about this for the last few days, right? Last week, it came out that this mandate would impact the Mets and Yankees. And right away, I told you, it's a wrap then. Randy Levine is on the case. Randy Levine ain't going to lose that case. The Yankees are powerful. The Mets are powerful. And when Boomer said it could be dropped by Thursday, I don't believe it'll be dropped by this Thursday. Maybe he meant to finish his sentence and say Thursday, April 7th, because that is opening day in the Bronx. I'll see y'all there. And I guarantee you, Aaron Judge being unvaccinated, Anthony Rizzo being unvaccinated, those are just the two that we know. That is the right side of the Yankees defense. You think the Yankees are about to roll out there without their first baseman and right fielder? Hell to the no-no, hell to the no-no. I'm telling y'all, it's a wrap. It's a wrap for that. And here's why I also believe it's a wrap. Because why wouldn't it be a wrap? What are we standing on? What are we fighting? We're fighting science. And that's stupid. That doesn't make any sense, right? The rule is so ass backwards that unvaccinated visitors could play and our own guys can't compete for our city in our city. It's one thing with Kyrie Irving. They love to make that young black man a villain. They love to drag his name. They love to make him an example. I love that the Nets and the Yankees are now implicated because they will not make an example out of them. All right, that's enough for me. Spen, kick some thoughts, say some stuff to the people.
Bro, I'll tell you this, and this is what bothers me. So a lot of us, watch basketball and baseball to get away from the politics, right? It's an escape. It's an escape from the struggles of everyday life. And we have a ton of things going on in this world, war, famine, everything. And you watch baseball and basketball to feel good about things that aren't serious. And unfortunately, now these past few months, politics has been so enthralled in basketball and the Brooklyn Nets. You can't go on Nets Twitter without seeing comments from Eric Adams and seeing the word, mandate and vaccination and unvaccinated athletes. So I'm just so frustrated with it at this point. You and I have been waiting for this announcement to be made over these past few weeks. I hope there's some merit to what Boomer's saying. I hope that his sources are better than what you and I heard a few weeks ago when we thought like 2 or 3 Fridays ago was going to get lifted. I do think, having the Yankees and Mets involved in this entire charade with a ton of unvaccinated guys on both teams, I think it'll help the Nets and hopefully Kyrie will be full-time by the playoffs. But man, what happened to just watching basketball to get away from the politics? I feel like we can't do that anymore, Keith.
They want us to stay stuck in the past. I told you they're playing on people's fears. They want us to believe there's a new BA2 variant coming and we can't drop these mandates. It's all nonsense, man, and it's on its last leg. It's on its last leg, and everything happens for a reason. I don't believe in politics. I believe in God, and God wants people to be out here freely enjoying their lives. This thing has taken 2 years of our lives. I don't know why people want to stay stuck in it. I really don't. And I get the political science, right? Not the science. I get the political science because this thing was split between Republicans and Democrats, anti-vaxxers and people that rolled up their sleeves. It's stupid, but we're so far beyond this vaccine stuff. Even the fact that I still see Nets fans like, Kyrie should still roll up his sleeve and get the shot. Why would he do that now? Why would he do that now? He took a stance for something, and he's going to win. He took a stance against something, right? His own choice that, I'm not going to inject myself with this vaccine y'all cooked up in a couple months. I'll wait this thing out. I'll wait this thing out and see where we are, right? The cases aren't going to be high forever. And they always want to talk about science and the numbers. It's public information, folks. Google it. It's public knowledge. It's actually not even something you have to Google. Just step outside your house. You go to the grocery store. Some people are choosing to wear masks. Those people are ugly. They have to hide their faces. It's okay. Or they're autoimmune, whatever. Like they're immune compromised. I get that. Some people are just like sheep completely. They don't realize like, yo, dude, you don't have to wear a mask in your car. Take it off. Live.
Yeah, I find that wild when I see people in the car with masks by themselves.
It's mind control. It's so bothersome for me because it's like, damn, do y'all realize how long we've been being controlled? 2 years ago, they canceled the NBA on us. And that's when I was like, oh, shit just got real. I didn't even think it was possible. It just, like, you sure they're not going to play this Utah Jazz Kings game? Everybody's in the arena. Is it that serious? I'm like, yeah, it's that serious. So they told you to stay home, right? You had to stay in your crib. That hurt people's wallets. That hurt people's bodies. That hurt people's minds. That made people drink. That made people do reckless things. Now some people got quarantine babies. They had kids because they were stuck in the house. Like, we were controlled for the last 2 years. And now we're rolling back all of the mandates and things. And I don't know. I just think it's stupid, man. I'm just so tired of it. The science is, there's no science. Kyrie Irving being unmasked courtside last weekend showed everybody in the world how stupid New York looks. They're not protecting anyone. They're not doing anything. And I believe that the Yankees and Mets being implicated is the final step. And the last thing I'll say on it, we will know the fix is all the way in. We will know that this is complete BS if they amend the mandate and don't completely drop the mandate. This is where I'm going with it, right? They could amend the mandate to say it's safe for Citi Field and Yankee Stadium for these players to play outside, even though they're in the clubhouse, weight room, training rooms, indoors. It's okay for them to play baseball outside, but it's not okay for Barclays Center. That's the last bullshit. And if that happens, this fight gets a lot larger. I think you're going to see some serious issues from the Nets side, from the Nets fans, from all types of people, right? If they actually try and pull that stunt with Kyrie Irving.
The only reason I don't think that that's possible is, baseball's locker rooms are still inside, right? You still have these unvaccinated guys with the team in the locker room. So the sport being outside or inside, it doesn't matter to me because they're still hanging out in the facility.
Yeah, but, the way COVID works, it just, moves around different walls and different doors and only hits certain people. Like Kyrie Irving is COVID's, worst nightmare. Like, bro, what are we talking about? It's so dumb.
I just want consistency. That's all I ask for. Eric Adams can go up there in front of everybody. He can say whatever he wants. But when you can't explain, and Keith, you said this just now, when you can't explain why an unvaccinated Kyrie is allowed to attend the game, watch the game, but not be on the court with his teammates,
Hundreds of
that.
unvaccinated people in the arena last Friday, and last Sunday, and the Mavs game. We've had probably thousands of unvaccinated people going to Nets games for the first time in a while. But one of the best players in the world can't step on that floor because they want to stay stuck on stupid. And I can't stay stuck on this topic. We wasted the first 15 minutes on it. Let's move on to some more nonsense, some more BS surrounding one Ben Simmons. Let's talk about Ben Simmons and these injuries. So last week, we learned that Ben Simmons had an epidural on his back, and that this back thing, like that, for me, I was like, okay. Once I heard he got an epidural, I'm like, this is serious. This guy actually is hurt. You're not getting an epidural for no reason, and we might be in trouble. So then Steve Nash, before the game yesterday, had some remarks about it, and he basically let people know this dude's got a hernia. A herniated disc in his back. That's not good, bro. That's not good. Spen, how are you feeling about Ben Simmons' return to the Brooklyn Nets? Or not even return. He ain't never played a game for the Nets. How are you feeling about Ben Simmons playing for the Brooklyn Nets at all this year?
I'm extremely happy with the return we got for James Harden and Paul Millsap. But having said that, we now have 3 guys from Philadelphia who are kind of injury prone. I mean, we haven't seen Ben Simmons play yet. We don't know when we will. At this point, I don't even know if it's worth it, if he's ready for the playoffs, to just shove him in that starting lineup and try to create chemistry on the fly with the rest of this Nets team. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. You look at what Bruce Brown's been doing as of late, the way Kevin Durant's been sort of orchestrating the offense when he's in there. When you throw in a player like Ben Simmons, who basically plays on the ball a lot of the time, it's going to be very difficult to create some type of chemistry if you do that in the playoffs. Now, if you can get him with a few games left in the regular season involved in the starting lineup, maybe he's the first guy off the bench, that's a different story. But nothing I have heard, Keith, in these last few days with this news projects that he'll be back before the playoffs. And then the other 2 guys you got, Andre Drummond. I mean, he's had his fair share of injuries throughout his career. He has played, I think, the most games as a Brooklyn Net out of the 3. And then you have Seth Curry, who doesn't have the best ankle in the world. He went down in that game against the Jazz, and we're not sure what his return time is. So it's just crazy. We got 3 guys who have a lot of injuries that they're dealing with. And in a weird way, that sort of messes up what the Nets are trying to do come these playoffs.
Yeah, it's funny you say that about Drummond, Seth, and Ben, the 3 guys that we got in that trade for James Harden. They're all damaged goods, and so is James Harden. Like, James Harden rested last night with a hamstring injury. His hamstring injury is ongoing. And yeah, these guys, man, I don't know what to say. We need them, but they're all hurt. So I just put up the injury report. LaMarcus Aldridge is out this whole week. He's now, I think, this 3 weeks. After this week, it'll be 3 weeks that he's out with this hip impingement. David Duke Jr. has been out, but he's a 2-way. We haven't seen him on the floor in a while. And Joe Harris. Speaking of Joe Harris, we got the news that he had his surgery, and we can expect Joe Harris to make a full recovery by training camp. And I mean, it sucks. From what I don't know. I think that the Nets screwed it up. I think that the Nets, like, how did Joe go from just an ankle sprain in November to supposed to be coming back to having a second surgery on his ankle? Like, what did they do in his rehab process that we don't have Joe Harris now until next season? And we'll see if he's even around. He could get dealt. Who knows? But back to the injury report. Day'Ron Sharp's been balling down there for Long Island. He's putting on. Ben Simmons back soreness. Drummond, I'll give Drummond a break. Drummond was sick yesterday.
Okay.
He was at the ticket holders event Sunday. Who knows? Maybe being around all those random fans and people, he picked something up. That's, that could have happened. So I'll excuse him being sick for a day. But yeah, he's been hurt. He's already missed like 3 or 4 games since being traded over here, right? It's not great. It's the never healthy Nets, literally.
I got 2 quick questions for you. And the first one is about LaMarcus Aldridge. So obviously he's going to come back before the playoffs, but with Nick Claxton's play as of late, which has been phenomenal, Andre Drummond playing some really good basketball for the Brooklyn Nets, how are the Nets and Steve Nash going to work Aldridge back into the rotation? Is Nick Claxton going to take a backseat? Is Andre Drummond going to take a backseat? Or is Aldridge's playing time in jeopardy because of the play of Claxton and Drummond? What do you think about that?
I think Nick Claxton had a coming out party last night. It looked like he was Claxton unleashed, unlocked. And sometimes, that you get defaulted into that. We defaulted into that because Drummond couldn't play. So Claxton was forced to step up. I forget what game it was where Drummond got hit in the nose and Claxton had to jump into duty, spring into duty. Was it Philly? I don't know. Maybe it wasn't Philly, but either way, Claxton has been ready. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Claxton was not ready in the beginning of the year. Claxton skipped Summer League. Claxton wasn't on the Nets' good side in September, October, November. He got sick. He missed time. He had strep throat, mono. It's hard to come back from that. And he also had a conditioning issue. He has had some bumps in the road. His best friend on the team, James Harden, gets dealt. He had to deal with that. But now here we are. We're past that. And Claxton seems to be hitting the level that Nets fans thought he would be at when he was starting for us the first 3 games of the year. So I think that LaMarcus Aldridge, depending on the matchup, LA can be good for us as a scoring option, but we ain't going to need too many scoring options with KD, Kyrie, a healthy Seth, Dragic, Bruce scoring the ball. We'll see. LA came here for a ring. He said himself this year was unfinished business. He should be back. I am really worried about Seth Curry. Let's talk about Seth for a minute. He went down yesterday, and I immediately was just like, no. 1, because my parlay got broken, got busted off that, and I was like, well, that was a waste of money. 2, because we need him, and he's been trying to champ it out. He's been trying to play through his ankle problem, through his now I think it was an ankle and a knee yesterday. But we need him because in that game Friday against the Blazers, we saw how he came out and lit it up. And it's like, man, we need that other option, especially when KD is by himself. What are your thoughts on Seth and his injury and his play and what we've seen from him so far?
Yeah, it's crazy. Between the 2 Curry brothers, I think they have like 1 or 2 good ankles. I mean, both those guys just have the worst luck with their ankle injuries. Seth Curry has been nothing short of sensational since joining the Nets. Outside of Kevin Durant, Seth Curry has been the most consistent scorer over these past few weeks. He brings you, and I said this on Twitter, what Patty Mills was supposed to give you just in terms of hitting threes. That is what Seth Curry has brought. And also Seth Curry has a lot more in his bag than Patty Mills. So for me, Seth Curry was the perfect plug and play. He gives you a little bit of what Joe Harris did, a little bit of what Patty Mills does. Plus he's able to score off the dribble. If you don't have him, and for some reason Kyrie isn't able to play home games in the playoffs, the mandate still stays. You're going to have to lean on Kevin Durant so much to the point where who else is going to step up? I love Bruce Brown. I love LaMarcus Aldridge, but if they're the second best scorers on our team in the playoffs, we might be in trouble. So he's extremely important to what this Nets team does. He's able to get you 15 to 20. If he plays, a good amount of minutes, he's going to hit shots. He's going to be a good scoring option, and he's going to be open. And that's what you've seen from Seth Curry during his stretch of games. So it's absolutely stunk that he went down. But I will say that in the 2 games without Seth Curry, the Jazz game and also that Mavericks game where he rested, those were 2 very close games that the Nets were able to beat the Jazz in a wire-to-wire victory. And then in that Mavs game, I mean, last second shot by Dinwiddie, you live with the result, but the Nets really should have won that game as well. So I look at it like he's extremely important, But even if he's not playing, I still think the Nets are going to be competitive. I would much rather that scoring insurance with him on the floor.
All right, enough injury talk. It is what it is. As long as KD stays healthy, we got a shot. Friday night in Brooklyn, your Nets beat the Trailblazers 128-123. I was at the game. It was lit, but it wasn't lit at first. I did the halftime hit with Capper and Carino, and we were like, what is going on? We're like, Justice Winslow, Josh Hart. They don't even have their guys. No Dame Lillard, no Anthony Simons, Yusef Nurkic. And somehow these randoms, Trendon Watford and Drew Eubanks and Brandon Williams and, Ben McLemore, sneaky Ben McLemore, they were giving us problems. The defense was disconnected, and I think Nash came out and said something like, the team wanted it easy. But we're a second-half team. Nash goes in the locker room, lays into the team, makes adjustments, and the guys come out and handle business. We get 38 points from Kevin Durant. I mean, he's good for 30 almost every night, even if they double, triple team him. 27 from Seth Curry. 17 from Bruce Brown, who's been averaging about 15. You love to see it. 17 from Andre Drummond. Who else? Dragic kicked in. 10 assists, 9 points. Cam Thomas. I know we've forgotten a little bit about Cam. He had the back contusion in Boston, and he hasn't actually been lighting it up, but he hasn't been playing more than like 10, 15 minutes max. He gave us 11 points. And the Nets figure out how to fight back in the second half and get it done. Let me see. I didn't clip the game because I was at the game, but I think I have some videos from the game. Shout out to Mr. Whammy. Mr. Whammy, I think in the Mavericks game, the Mavericks shot 100% from the charity stripe. So Mr. Whammy, he felt some type of way about the Whammy Magic. He's like, damn, I didn't get any magic against the Mavs. I got to come back strong. And he damn sure did against the Portland Trailblazers. Let's play the video, and I think I can go find the stats. Let's go Nets. Yeah, let's go Nets. So on Friday night, the Whammy Magic was in full effect. The Blazers only shot 53% or 58.3%. They missed 10 free throws. They went 14 for 24. That is Mr. Whammy working. What'd you think about the game Friday, Spen?
I mean, first of all, shout out to the legend, Mr. Whammy. He has been at going to Nets games since I was a kid at Continental Arena. I remember him as like a 7, 8-year-old kid just standing behind the basket, trying to make guys miss. The fact that it's the year 2022 and this distinguished gentleman is still making dudes miss, absolutely insane. Shout out to Mr. Whammy. I actually met him a few weeks ago after the game. It's like I heard of people. I said what up to him. I think he just wanted me to leave him alone, but that's okay. He probably gets bum rushed by a lot of fans, but just shout out to him and his wife. They are absolutely awesome and fantastic Nets fans. So yeah, tale of two different halves. In that first half, I don't think that Nets fans have been more angry with a performance throughout this entire season. I mean, the big number, 42 points by the Trailblazers in that second quarter. And again, this is a team playing without Anthony Simons. Damian Lillard's been out for most of the year. No Yusef Nurkic. You mentioned the guys that we're playing against. The fact that Devin Eubanks is beating us to loose balls. Brandon Williams, who the announcers actually said that, like, we've never heard of this guy before. He puts up 24. He's cooking dudes like it's nothing. It was just an embarrassing first half by the Brooklyn Nets. And, look, I am a victim of the moment. I will overreact at times. And I did during that first half. I think I tweeted something like, how can this team be a championship caliber team with a performance like this? Now, granted, Keith, you're a lot better than me in that you don't overreact to things. This is a second half team, and they were able to right the ship and basically outscore the Trailblazers substantially in the third and the fourth quarter. But look, in Kevin Durant, we trust. no matter what, you knew KD was going to get us through this. We had the Seth Curry performance for the scoring insurance. And then we got to give a shout out to our guy, Nick Claxton. Huge bucket, huge putback in that fourth quarter. I think it was a miss from Bruce Brown. And, I don't know if fans are noticing this, but the last 3 games, the Mavericks, the Trailblazers, and the Jazz, Nick Claxton has had 3 timely buckets within 2 minutes of the fourth quarter ending. So, with Seth and KD doing their thing, a late bucket by Nick Claxton. I think once the Nets gave this Trailblazers that gut punch in that third quarter, it was hard for them to recover. I think we outscored them 39-26 in that third quarter. They put up a little bit of a fight in the fourth, but it was over at that point. Great win at home. This is how you're supposed to play at home in that second half. And luckily they carried that momentum over to the Jazz game the other day.
Speaking of Nick Claxton, 33, I'm proud of you, bro. You fought through it. It's a long season, and you're
First, Nicholas Claxton with a big-time block, and watch him run. Kevin Durant surveying, filthy pass for the throwdown at the other end.
That coast-to-coast Nick Claxton block on Rudy Gobert, run down the court. Kevin Durant finds him for the slam. I'm like, yo, what? This is a different level. Nets level. This is Nets level. Hey, I appreciated it. Let's keep going. If you left the chat, you're missing all the highlights from last night because I clipped the game and we're about to run through them. Kevin Durant is unreal.
You can't say enough about what he brings on this end of the floor in his minutes. Durant. Oh, Durant!
No, I got to run that back. Please watch this clip again. Watch the shake, bake, give me the ball, make.
You can't say enough about what he brings on this end of the floor in his minutes. Durant. Oh, Durant!
That's a ridiculously hard 3 to make off the inbound in the corner.
That's an impossible shot. There's like 2% of players in the NBA that can make that shot, and Kevin Durant's in that 2%.
Now let's show some love to Bruce.
Claxton looking back door. Brown, the jumper is pure.
Bruce Brown can shoot the 3 now. He's shooting like just under 35% from 3, I believe. Ben Simmons can't do that. Ben Simmons cannot do that. I don't care if he worked on a shot. Ben Simmons is not stepping on the floor for the Nets this year and shooting 33% from 3. He's not. He's not hitting 3 out of 10 three-pointers that he attempts. I just don't see it.
I've said this in the past, possibly on this podcast, and I've seen it on Twitter as of late. Bruce Brown can be the Nets version of Andre Iguodala for the Warriors. And he's a little bit younger than Iguodala was during those Warriors runs. But he has the potential to be such a glue guy. He works hard. He beats guys to the ball. He's got a great touch around the rim. And like you're saying, if he works in that three-point shot, watch out. This is a guy who can really complement the way Kevin Durant plays basketball.
Yeah, I can't give him AI yet. If he hits the 3 consistently, then I'll give him Iguodala. Let's look at some more clips. Potential. So Kevin Durant makes history last night, and it's crazy to think about Kevin Durant passing Jerry West, who basically recruited him to come to Golden State. They have a relationship. Jerry West being the NBA logo. I think they need to refresh the logo, make it Durant. And it's also crazy to think about how much time KD has missed, right? KD has missed time in the last 2 seasons for the Nets, missed multiple games. His first season with the Nets, he missed the whole season. He's been hurt a lot. If he was healthier, he would have been here sooner. He might be closer to like where LeBron is. Let's see.
Other night, Mitchell off the mark. Durant the board.
Man, Curry was locked in the other night. He could not miss.
Kevin Durant's got that look in his eyes. Cross, pull up, bottom. Kevin Durant has just moved into 22nd place on the all-time scoring list.
Too easy. Easy money. What do you think about the boy KD? Crossover, finds his spot, elbow jumper, pure.
Yeah, I feel bad for 2 guys, Royce O'Neal and Hassan Whiteside, because Kevin Durant cooked them the entire night. Royce O'Neal stood no chance. He couldn't touch KD. Hassan Whiteside tried to contest a few shots, and Kevin Durant's like, I'm going to shoot over you. You can't guard me. It was amazing to watch what he did last night. He's been doing that all year. He's been doing that his entire tenure with the Brooklyn Nets. And you pass a great like Jerry West, you yourself are an all-time great. Just a really cool moment last night for KD and Nets fans.
Yo, shout out to y'all in the chat. We see y'all. We're just running through the pod. Let me see. For finally catching a live stream. Let's go. Let me see where else we got in the chat. Nets fan from Memphis will be in the building witnessing Kyrie go crazy for his birthday. I'm not sure when that is, but good. What's up, Brittany? I saw Brittany pull up earlier. Everybody else in here, I appreciate y'all. Let's go back to the clips. Let's play some more KD. He's crazy.
In the air and still able to get that delivery with the low seal.
The Nets lead is 10. Just over 3 minutes to go in the third. Durant. Oh, yeah! A three for KD.
Get up on that man. Kevin Durant steps in, hands down. This time he's pointing at Whiteside, so he can't do games. His passing of facilitation has been a thing of beauty.
Durant! Easy money sniper.
He's literally looking at Hassan Whiteside like, y'all are switching him on me? Step up. Hassan, step up. If you don't step up and guard the three, I'm shooting this in your face every time. He did it back-to-back possessions.
And I got to shout out the Brooklyn Brigade here and just Barclays Arena in general. Kevin Durant feeds off your guys' energy, Keith.
Yeah.
I know you're part of the Brooklyn Brigade.
Yeah.
You guys get him going. So when he's in that zone, it's almost like you guys are his steroid, and he's just feeding off you. And he said it after the game. He said he loves the vibe in the arena. He loves to play for these fans. And you just got to appreciate the fact that, look, this Nets fan base is one that is looked down upon by the majority of the NBA, but that's because they've never been to a game. They don't understand what we're about. So when you have the best player, the best scorer in the entire world saying, hey, I feed off this fan base, I got to give you guys credit. I got to say thank you to the Brooklyn Brigade for doing your job. And when this guy's going, you guys feed off him. He feeds off you. It's a beautiful symbiotic relationship.
We don't stop. The Brooklyn Brigade is a family. It's a squad. It's a team. We all saw KD Sunday at the season ticket holders party. KD showed everybody love, came through, took pictures, walked through, said what's up, and then he carries that energy onto the floor. As soon as he hits the free throw line, we start the chants up. MVP, MVP. When the Nets are on defense, all you hear is defense, defense. When the Nets are on offense, all you hear is let's go Nets, let's go Nets. And then when we do something big, Brooklyn, it's real. Like, they can try and deny it all they want. They can say there's no Nets fans. It sounds as dumb as the mandate now. There's no Nets fans. Nobody cares about the Nets. Like, that narrative sounds just as dumb as the mandate is protecting and keeping people safe. Let's play some more. Board and bucket. KD. Watch this, bro. Let's just watch this.
Push shot. No. Rebound Durant. That is his fifth board to go along with 6 assists. Durant. Pull up. Oh! Are you not entertained? KD from deep.
I clipped it, but in the live coverage right after that clip, KD says, what's wrong with these motherfuckers? Like, I watched his lip. I read his lips. He said, what's wrong with these motherfuckers? Basically, like, Hassan Whiteside, again, you're putting Hassan Whiteside on me from 3. I'm shooting that, and I'm cashing that every time. It's too easy.
I'll tell you this, Keith. Kevin Durant single-handedly yesterday might have lost Quinn Snyder his job. Because now you're seeing these articles on Quinn Snyder's time in Utah possibly being numbered. This might be his last season if the Jazz don't do anything. And I'll tell you this, Utah on the road against the Nets team, no Kyrie, no Seth Curry essentially, no Andre Drummond, and the Nets handle them with ease. You can't do any – why are you even putting Hassan Whiteside near Kevin Durant? So, yeah, in a weird way, Kevin Durant might have ended Quinn Snyder's coaching tenure in Utah.
Indeed. And I don't know why I blanked on this. I do know why I blanked on this, because he's like, Nets fan from Memphis. I will be in the building witnessing Kyrie go crazy for his birthday. I'm thinking about Barclays Center. That's why I was like, I don't know when that's going to be, because some people are saying that he could play Sunday because Boomer Esiason said that the mandate could be dropped by Thursday. I don't think that happens. But he said he's in Memphis. The Nets are playing in Memphis tomorrow night. against the Grizzlies. Got it. But yeah, a couple more
also,
clips.
Happy birthday, Kyrie Irving. It's March 23rd is his birthday, so shout out to him. Hell yeah.
Bless up. HBD. Okay, what else we got? More KD? No, we got some Clax. We got some Patty to go.
Contact. Claxton may have played it up just a tad.
Some gentle contact.
Lob it up. Slam it down. Claxton up high for a Clax attack.
Clax jumping out of the gym like Blake Griffin used to do. Damn. Lob City. Hey, shout out to Patty Mills. It was good to see Patty get going.
Griffin, catch off the roll. Dragic missed it. Offensive board. Johnson. Mills. Connects from down under.
Bang. All right. 2 more clips. Go ahead, Spen.
No, I think we've been hard on Patty, and rightfully so, because we know what he's capable of. He's capable of draining threes. So when he's not doing that, I think it's fair for Nets fans to be on his case. And the thing I'll say about Nick Claxton, Keith, is Nick Claxton has dunked on the likes of Rudy Gobert, on LeBron James. I'm probably missing a few other guys, but he is not scared of anyone. He will dunk on anybody's head in this league. And that's why my nickname for Clax is Mr. Potential, because when he's doing things like that, we see what he's capable of.
Clax from the South. Them boys down South different. They don't fear nothing. All right, couple more KD clips. It was a show last night. This is the KD show.
A few pieces, including Bojan Bogdanovic, but you've got to make sure that you continue this type of pressure.
Clarkson, he tried to lean in for 2, and Durant there defensively, not going to give up an inch. 5 on 4 right now. Durant wants it. The drive on Gay, the fade is good. Kevin Durant stuck on automatic.
My favorite part of that clip is watching it live, and you could hear it a little bit there, but it's always a little quieter because I ripped the videos. Jordan Clarkson tries to go past KD. KD D's him up and goes, hell no. Nah. Like, hell no, you're not getting that off on me. Then comes down on the other end, gets into the paint. They try to double him. He hits that, gets fouled, and just looks around like, where's the foul call? People just watch this man in awe. They don't even call a foul on him.
I think because Kevin Durant is so freaking good on offense, we forget how underrated he is as a defender. He's got some of the lengthiest arms in the league, and he's really able to distort people's shots.
And the Nets now just trying to get to the finish line. Durant makes his move, rises up, and hits.
I mean, he's just dropping daggers late in the game. It feels so good to have an elite closer like KD. I watched so many Nets games when I was a little bit younger, not even that long ago, like 2018, where I'm like, we don't have anyone that can close. I know D'Lo was good for us. He was somewhat of a closer, but there were games where it was like the Nets would be competitive in the first half. Then we get into the second half, and we're still hanging with them, and then it all would disappear in the fourth quarter. That was the thing that used to frustrate me the most about the Nets, where I used to tell people I'm turning the game off. They couldn't close. You watch a whole game and you think the Nets are going to knock off a top competitor. And then when you get in the fourth quarter, we don't have the superstars to close. Now we do. And now we have the top guy.
And I think, a few possessions before that shot that he hit, he was trying to facilitate. He was turning the ball over. And at one point, I think he's just got to say to himself, look, I got to take this into my own hands. He is so calculated with that change of direction. He looks off the defender, moves to the other side, one dribble, in your face. I mean, with the game on the line, even if he misses a shot, I don't think there's anyone on this Brooklyn Nets team, if Kyrie's not playing, that we want to shoot this ball more than Kevin Durant. So I was happy to see him finally take advantage of that Royce O'Neal matchup and just say, hey, I'm going to stop trying to be Jason Kidd, and I'm going to be Kevin Durant on this one.
Indeed.
The ball 10 to shoot. Durant, double team. Durant shakes his way out of it, floats it up. Slap down. Claxton.
Brooklyn. KD throwing lobs, getting his assists up. You got to love it. And last but not least, KD, I didn't get the full clip, but KD basically said, he signed his extension for 4 years. KD is 33, so he'll be here till he's 37. How old is LeBron? 37. LeBron's not going to retire until he's like 40, in his 40s. KD, if his body holds up, will sign another contract with the Nets. And he spoke about building something here, not just for this year, but for a longer run into the future.
About what the future holds, but I also want as much as we can get in a moment as well.
So for you Nets fans that quit on this team, that consistently say this team isn't going to win anything this year, that say Kyrie is to blame, that say the mayor is to blame, injuries, we're never going to win anything. You have the best player in the world who chose to be here, who wears his Nets hoodie and tells the media, we're building something for the future, but we're focused on right now too. He's still got his championship aspirations right now. This is a guy that has done it and knows the formula to how to get it done.
Yeah, everything you said is correct. And, you know, you have so many people on Nets Twitter that talk about how happy we are to finally have a superstar who wants to embrace the Nets. It's been a long time. I mean, we've had guys in and out since those Jason Kidd, Vince Carter years. But it is a very cool feeling that the best player in the world wants to be part of the Brooklyn Nets, not just for this year, but for an extended amount of time. It's just a really great feeling to be part of this fan base right now.
Indeed. And shout out to the chat. Danish Nets fan says, even Denmark cares about the Nets. This narrative that Nets have no fans needs to stop. It'll never stop. We have to win a championship for it to kind of stop. And then my guy Rich says they're a national global team. Knicks fans are just loud babies in the NYC area. Believe me, I'm from NJ. So are we. We know. We know when the Nets were just the New Jersey Nets, we had to deal with it, and they were better. The New Jersey Nets were better than the Knicks, and we still had to be treated like we were second-class citizens, second fiddle to the Knicks. Why? Because they play in the middle of Manhattan. That doesn't mean anything. They're trash. And I hate talking about the Knicks when it's got nothing to do with the Knicks, but they haven't beat us in 6 games. We've beat them 6 times in a row. Our world, Nets world. You see the hoodie?
That's what I'm talking about, baby. Nets world all day, every day. The Knicks are an embarrassment of a franchise. I mean, James Dolan's one of the worst owners in not just the NBA, but in sports in general. They're never going to figure it out. And by the time they do figure it out, I guarantee you the Nets will have multiple championships under their belt.
Absolutely. Now, speaking of other teams, let's look at the other teams around us and the upcoming schedule. The Nets have, warning, 10 games remaining. But last night, the teams in front of us both took L's. Please look at the standings. Well, I should be the one to pull up the standings for you to look at. Here we go. Your Brooklyn Nets currently sit in 8th place, 2 games behind the 7th seed and 3 games behind the 6th seed. You see that dotted line between the 6 and the 7? That is the line that separates the playoff teams from the play-in teams. The Cavs lost last night with LeBron James putting on a show back at home. They have a tough schedule coming up. Let's look at the Cavs' schedule. The Cavs have to go face the Raptors, who are right above us, on Thursday. Then they host the Bulls, who are currently the number 5 team right above them as the 6th seed. They'll beat the Magic, but they got to deal with Luka and the Mavericks right after that. They could lose that game. Then they got to go to Atlanta and deal with Trae Young and the Hawks. The Hawks aren't great, but if they have a great night, that could be a loss. Then the Cavs got to come to Madison Square Garden. They'll beat the Knicks. But then they got to face the 76ers, where depending on if the 76ers are resting Joel Embiid and James Harden and load managing and punting games, we'll see how that goes. But then later in April, which April 8th, key is at April 8th game. That's the day after Yankees opening day, when I think there will be no mandates left. The Cavaliers could be facing Kyrie Irving in Brooklyn. His former team facing him in Brooklyn. We'll beat them. And then the Bucks face the Cavs. Those are a ton of losses. The Cavs are going to drop to the 8th seed, folks. They are going to drop. Now let's look at the Raptors. And I don't care. I'm calling it because I can see the writing on the wall. The Raptors-Cavs game in Toronto. I think the Raptors will beat the Cavs. I think they'll beat the Pacers. They ain't going to beat the Celtics, though. That's next Monday. They ain't going to beat the Celtics. I don't know if they'll beat the Timberwolves either. Timberwolves pretty good. They'll beat the Magic. I don't know if they'll beat the Heat. They'll probably beat the Hawks. I don't know if they'll beat the 76ers. And then they got the Rockets and the Knicks. So I honestly think we have a scenario where the Raptors could climb up to the 6th spot. The Brooklyn Nets could be in the 7th spot. And the Cleveland Cavaliers in the 8th spot. where if we host the Cavs, or we could be 7-8, it doesn't matter. But what we want is Toronto to go up to the 6th spot. It's going to be tough for us to get to the 6th spot. If we can't get it, we want Toronto to get it. Why? Because then it would be a 7-8 matchup between the Cavaliers and our Nets, where depending on the mandate, Kyrie should be good to play in Brooklyn. But if the game is in Cleveland, he's good to go there. They're not beating us. I don't think they're putting a team on the floor that's going to beat KD and Kyrie in Ohio if Kyrie's playing. And even if they come to Brooklyn and Kyrie can't play, I think we beat the Cleveland Cavaliers. So I think there's a situation where the Cavs can drop all the way to 8th and we're 7. And I think there's a situation, depending on how this all plays out, that the Nets could sneak up to 6. Now, it is important to note the Nets have a tough schedule as well. It's a big week this week, and I'm so glad that we pulled off that game last night, because the schedule is, it's an easy schedule, but there are some tough games coming up. So I'm about to pull up the Nets schedule so you can see that, like, I think we'll handle business, but at the same time, if we don't, we're not going to help our case. So Grizzlies tomorrow, got to beat them. Saturday in Miami, we almost beat them without KD. Now we'll have KD and Kyrie, got to beat the Heat. The Hornets on Sunday, we got to beat them. We can beat them without Kyrie. We can beat the Pistons. The Bucks, we beat with just Kyrie. We should be able to beat the Bucks in Brooklyn. It might be a tough game. Who knows? They play well against us here and there. The Hawks we should beat. The Rockets we should beat. The Knicks we should beat. The Cavs we should beat. The Pacers we should beat. In these last 10 games, the Nets most likely will go 8-2 at the worst. At the worst. And there you have it, folks. We've got no voicemails. In this next 5 minutes, we can talk to the chat and see what you guys have for me and Spen. Send your questions in now, your thoughts in now. I'll roll through the chat and add what I can to the screen. But like I said, there's no voicemails, and that's all we've got. We just looked ahead, and I think things are working out for the Nets where we will not have to travel to Toronto to play in the play-in. We will either host the play-in or go to Cleveland, in my humble opinion, or sneak out of it. I don't know.
And wouldn't it be crazy, Keith, if we end up playing the Cavs in that play-in game? That's Jared Allen and Karis LeVert, former Brooklyn Nets. You and I loved them. These are two guys that we rooted for a little bit, and we'd be going up against them in the biggest competition. And we got Kevin Durant and Kyrie now. So it's weird looking back. Those guys were great for our franchise, but we upgraded. We upgraded to get perennial all-stars, perennial all-time greats. And that's a game, and shout out to Darius Garland. He's had a hell of a season. But that's a series or I guess one game that we really should win. We really should beat the Cavs no matter where the game is.
Indeed. Let's see. We're going to win most of those games. Yeah. I just said 8-2 at minimum. I see us potentially. The only
Raptors
way
will have to slip up, right? If
right.
That's
So
the case.
I'll show you again. The Raptors are a well-coached team. They're a young team. They're fighting and they're hungry. So actually, let me move this from. Okay. So for us to sneak into the 6th seed, we would need, I think, the Raptors to lose to the Celtics, to the Timberwolves, to the Heat, to the Sixers. They would have to lose those 4 games. At least. And that's tough. I don't know if they're going to lose all of those games. Because when you look at the standings right now, we're 2 games from them, right? So we only could lose 2 games. They would have to lose 4. I don't know. Do they have the tiebreaker on us? Because we lost those 2 games at back-to-back.
I read something that it's split and that we have a better division record than them, but they have more division games remaining than us. So it's very close. I don't know who holds that exact tiebreaker, but that's what I read earlier today.
Right. We're 9-6 in the East, and they're 8-5 in the East. Let's see. Nets, Raptors. Let's see if I can look up the scores. So the Nets beat the Raptors one time. No, twice. It's split. It's 2-2 in the 4 games. It's split, so it'll go to our division record. We got to keep that East record better than theirs. Ooh. I'm seeing the writing on the wall, folks. I'm not worried at all. I think it's going to play into our hands and into our favor, and I'm liking the looks of that. I don't think we're going to have to go to Toronto. I think we either host or go to Cleveland. We just need the Cavs to keep losing, and they will.
Oh, yeah.
You think we will win the chip this year? I can't say that. Like,
it's tough to know the answer to that
I didn't
question.
think the Bucks would win it last year. I thought we were going to beat the Bucks. They went on to win it. There's a lot of good teams. I like the Suns team. I think the Celtics are playing great basketball. I think, the Heat, the Bulls, they're going to be tough outs in the playoffs. It depends on seeding. It depends on where this all goes. Like, I told y'all episodes ago, a long time ago, that this could work out in our favor because the Nets could be the best low seed of all time. They could be slotted in a seed that their pathway to the finals is a laughable pathway, like where like the first round is our hardest test, and then we go. You don't know what's going to happen. It's all about where the seeding is when we get there in a couple weeks.
If you tell me that Kyrie's full-time, then I do believe that we're a real championship contender. If you tell me that he's still going to be part-time during the playoffs, meaning he won't be able to play home games, I'm not as confident. Obviously, I love Kevin Durant, but you don't know about the health of Seth Curry. You don't know about the health of Ben Simmons. It's tough. We don't know enough right now, in my opinion, to know whether or not they're a championship contender yet.
Cam says, realistically, we can move into the 5th seed because the Bulls been losing. Maybe. The Bulls lost 4 in a row. Then they fought against the Raptors and won last night to, at home to stop the bleeding, to stop losing so much. Let's look at the Bulls schedule while we're here. While I have 47 people's attention, the Bulls schedule could be very interesting because if they slip into the mix, then we're looking at something different. Oh, okay. Hold on. Let me get their schedule. They face the Bucks today. They could lose that game. I was thinking the Bulls. Think about how high up the Bulls were. The Bulls were the 1 seed with us, right? Like the Bulls, we weren't expecting the Bulls to be like, what are y'all doing down here? Why y'all slipping so far down? So the Bulls have the Bucks tonight. That could very well be a loss. The Pelicans, they're not going to lose to the Pelicans. They're not going to lose to the Cavs. They're not going to lose to the Knicks. They're not going to lose to the Wizards. They're not going to lose to the Clippers. They could lose to the Heat. They could lose to the Bucks. They could lose to the Celtics. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. They could slip. And looking at the standings, they're only a game and a half above Cleveland. So they could slip into that mix to be the 6 or the 7-2. It is going to be March Madness in the NBA the rest of the way. And that's the rest of the show, y'all. I got to go into the office. I got to get going. Appreciate Spen for joining me. He's a great host. Make sure you check out Fireside Nets. Spen, go ahead and plug yourself and anything else that you got to say before the pod ends.
Yeah, check out Fireside Nets. We're a nice Nets podcast, family friendly, but we'll curse occasionally. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram. You can check out my personal Twitter at Spenny and the Nets. Again, I got a shout out from the K Show the other week, and thank you guys for tuning into this episode. It was a pleasure to be here. It's always a pleasure to talk Nets basketball with the great Keith McPherson. And I'm just humbled when I come on this show. So I appreciate it. And again, thanks to everyone for tuning in. This team is going places. They are the hottest team in the East right now. You see the Bulls trending downward. You see the Cavs trending downward. We are figuring it out at the right time. As Keith holds up his Nets World hoodie, have faith, guys. Just because I'm not saying we're a championship contender right now doesn't mean I don't have faith. It just means I need to see some things play out. But this team is trending in the right direction. And if you're not already on the bandwagon, get on, because we have Kevin Durant, the greatest scorer in the freaking National Basketball Association. And when you have him, you have a chance in every single game you're in. I don't care who we're playing. We can be playing the 95 Bulls. The 96, but not 95, because I think they didn't have Jordan that year. We can be playing the 97, 98 Bulls. It does not matter. Give me Kevin Durant. Give me this Nets team, and I'll tell you, we have a chance.
I named this pod Nets win 6 of 7, trending up for a reason. A lot of these lames that claim to be fans of the Nets When we lost those first couple games with KD coming back, they're like, oh, this team's not going anywhere. This team's not going anywhere if the mandate doesn't change. The Nets will never win. It's like, why be like that? Why be that kind of fan? We're handling business. We're controlling what we can control. The Nets are doing what they're supposed to do. Spencer Dinwiddie, former Net, is the only thing that separates us from a 7-game win streak right now. Good for Spence. It won't matter. We're fine. We'll be all right. Our world, Nets world. As I always say, I appreciate y'all. I can't tell you how much I appreciate y'all. I try to show it by coming through with podcasts, with clips, with notes, prepared, got us a good guest so we could talk about our Nets in a way that traditional media does not. Please subscribe to the podcast. Please subscribe to the YouTube. If you're in the YouTube chat now, hit the thumbs up, like, send this link to a friend that wants to hear about the Nets in the right way. And that's all we've got. No voicemails, but you can call the voicemail for next episode, 201-870-0461. And just keep supporting the Nets and be positive. Things are about to change for the better. Positive energy only. There's no reason to be a negative Nancy Nets fan. Can't stand those. We are out of those days. We are out of those days of losing and not feeling great about our team. This is the Kevin Durant era. You know who he is? That's Kevin Durant. And that's all we've got. Appreciate y'all in the chat. Let's go Nets. Let's go Nets. Like the Brooklyn Brigade. Let's go Nets. Let's go Nets. Brooklyn.